draftable prospects. This is also where all the teams are there and the front office executives are talking to one another. And this is where trade talk really heats up. And we got a guy in Darius Slay that is known to be being shopped around the league. You know what we haven't heard a lot of? People thinking that this is a smokescreen, that the Lions aren't really shopping him, but they're letting the world be known that they're shopping him to just see if they get some stupid offer. That is a possibility. It is a possibility that the Lions have no intention of trading Darius Slay. They are flooding the market with misinformation about trying to trade Darius Slay. And then what they're really hoping to do is get some stupid offer for Darius Slay.
Well, I'll leave that open for a possibility, but is that really the best way to get the best offer from somebody? Because I would think the teams think they can take advantage of you because they know that you're trying to move them, and they're going to lowball you.
Well, it's an effort to kick up trade talks. So somebody calls and offers you a reasonable, a second-round pick for Darius Slay, which is what people are considering the high end of what you could get for him. Even though I wouldn't do it. I would, and I was thinking about this today. What would make me, because I'm anti-trading Slay. I am big-time anti-trading Slay. I am all about making him the highest-paid corner in the league. Not because he's the best corner, but because he's just the next guy that's up. Salary cap's going to go up. They have a ton of cap space. I would like to see the Lions enter a season with a strength that is not only a perceived strength, but an actual strength. Last year, defensively, they had a perceived strength on the defensive line. It was not a strength at all. And they went out to have one of the worst seasons defensively they've had in a long time. If they have Darius Slay on one side and Jeffrey Okudah on the other, with Justin Coleman in the slot, Amani Oruwariye as your dime back, and hopefully a rising Will Coleman. I mean, you're looking at a young Will Harris. Who's Will Coleman? Justin Coleman, Will Harris, the kid out of Boston College. I think you're looking at a young, talented secondary. I didn't even mention Tracy Walker, who's come along. This could be an actual, legitimate, difference-making strength of a group, a position group. There'd be a lot of talent in that room. I am so against trading Darius Slay. Now, I thought about it today. What price would I go, okay, I see why they did that. It would be a first and something. And that's probably not reasonable. It's probably not. For a guy who isn't the best at his position. What did Jalen Ramsey? He got 2 firsts, right?
Yeah, but you know what? When you start talking this through, okay, and then you say he's made it known he wants to be the top-paid cornerback in the league, and then you start looking at what that number is, and then you start throwing out what numbers would maybe fall, maybe not quite that high, but a little bit less than that. If you're going to pay a guy $16, $17 million, isn't that worth a first-round pick?
I would think so, but people think going into a contract year that you're not going to get that. I would want a first plus. Yeah. And if nobody gives me that, I'm not even entertaining the thought of trading Darius Slay. I think this is ridiculous.
But all this also comes with the knowledge that, look, the Lions, they've said basically that, haven't they said this, or is this just the prevailing thought that if they're going to move Darius Slay, the trade's going to work for 2 reasons. The Lions are going to get exactly what they want in return, and the team that gets him is going to have to sign to a long-term contract so that both sides are going to be happy with this. So let's assume that the trade comes with a contract for Darius Slay as well, so he can be happy for the next couple of years. Yeah, it's got to start with a first-round pick and then some. You're right. It has to. We think about it here in Detroit. I think fans have soured on Darius Slay. Not all of them.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the majority. I don't think it's the majority. I think that there's a loud vocal minority of fans that have soured on Darius Slay, and they like to put him down and say he's not that good, when obviously he's good, okay? He's definitely top half cornerback in the league. He's definitely top 15 in the league, and you could argue vociferously he's top 10 in the league. He's really good. Is that deserving of a number 1 pick and then some? I think it is. We in Detroit, we're too close to the situation. Look at how he's viewed nationally, and I think you'll understand that this guy is pretty well respected throughout the league. And if you could get that long-term contract done with him, it's worth that first-round pick.
Well,
plus.
look, I am.
But you know,
I'm scared we're going to hear that Darius Slay got dealt for a late second-round pick or a third-round pick, I
don't want to move him. I know you don't want to move him. And frankly, with all this cap space they've cleared up, what are we talking about? Why would we move him when you can sign him?
Well, I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. They could get weaker at that position and better overall as a team. I mean, you don't have to. Like, everybody does this. Well, who are you going to get that's better than Darius Slay? Who are you going to get that's as good as Darius Slay? Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you're not going to have a player that is as good as Darius Slay. But you're going to use the cap space to go out and sign Chris Jones, and now your defensive line looks fantastic. Or, you know, it's money that's going to help you get Jack Conklin, and now your offense is that much better. And you can be a better football team without that player. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I would not trade this guy, and I do not get it. I'm not letting the business get in the way of this player, not this one.
When we talked to Dave Burkett of the Free Press last week, one of the things he said was, okay, this is a defense that was ranked 31st in the league. They can't get much worse than they are. So if you lose Darius Slay, it's not like are they getting worse? Yeah, I think they are getting worse, but, we're talking about a bad defense to begin with. I want to build it up. I don't think they're that far from flipping the script and being a top 10 defense again. They need pieces. Don't get me wrong. They need pieces. But I think Darius Slay is part of that piece. I don't think that defensive line played anywhere near their potential last year. But since that time, Damon Harrison and the Lions are parting ways. You know, it looks like they're going to let Ashawn Robinson go to free agency. And now you've got more holes on this team than maybe there were a week ago. So you really got to take a deep think on this one of what needs to happen here. But I still think Darius Slay needs to be part of this team moving forward.
Yeah, the more I look at it, it doesn't make any sense to trade Slay because unless you're in a full rebuild, that's the only way it makes sense to me because no matter what you think of him off the field, on the field, he's one of your best, if not your best, defensive player. They don't get better. I know they were already bad, but they definitely don't get better without him. It just they can afford him, so it makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? Whether it's $16 million or $17 million, I'm not sure why they. Other than they just don't believe that he believes the same philosophy they're trying to coach, and they just don't want that type of guy in the locker room, no matter how he performs on the field. And other than that, and the rebuild, I just don't understand why they wouldn't want to keep him.
248-539-9797. Darius Slay has spoken about this. We'll hear what he has to say next. Additionally, and the reason we're talking about this is because the Combine, this is the week where trade talk really starts to heat up, which means it's going on right now in Indianapolis.
Somebody else who wore a Lions uniform just spoke out, and it's awesome.
We'll get to that coming up at 10:35. 97.1 The Ticket.